Well, look who shows up. Just on the first day that we talk about Ryan Kesler being nude in a magazine, who shows up?
I wanted to chime in on that one.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you?
Yeah, do you want some of the other ones I got that he sent me are different than the
Whoa!
ones.
Whoa! Yeah. Wow, those are nice.
He must work out.
He goes to sleep by counting Ryan Kesler running, jumping sheep. And when he stops, he wakes up. That's a nightmare.
All right, this is a nightmare. Let's go.
Oh, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
All right, you brought up a couple of things that we want to talk about. First of all, let's just get right into the Don Cherry thing going on. Mad at the goons, calling them pukes on the air.
You should be ashamed of yourself doing something like that. I did a little research. Since 1999, there's been 8 guys commit suicide, and there were not one of them was a fighter. But the ones that I am really disgusted with, and I hate to say this when the kids are listening, what George LaRocque said about a bunch of pukes that fought before Stu Grimson, Chris Nyland, and Jim Thompson.
I thought that was pretty interesting to see the rebuttal by several of the former tough guys in the league.
Maybe a lawsuit. Maybe a lawsuit.
Yeah.
They say if they don't get a public apology on air apology, Stu Grimson down in Nashville, Tennessee, might go for a lawsuit.
Bullshit.
Well, you might force him to.
I mean, it depends.
Public apology.
You know, what are the damages? What, you know, has he sullied their reputations? I mean, that's what a court of law would decide, right? I mean, the allegation would be that he has put words in their mouths because they now claim, other than Jim Thompson, the other two now claim, you know, they have never ever been on record as saying, you know, that fighting should be taken out of the game, and that's what Don Cherry insinuated. So therein lies the disagreement between the two sides. And hey, at the end of the day, I will say this: you know, Don Cherry, he's brilliant at what he does. He knows how to get an audience, and he's done it again. The whole country was talking about it.
Because Coach's Corner has never been about credibility or good insight. It's been about shtick. It's been about a show. It has been for years. I remember in 1987 going down to Toronto with Ed Whalen. We met Ron McLean, and Ron turned to Ed and said, "Ed, I think I'm doing pretty much what you did in Stampede Wrestling."
Really? That's a great analogy.
1987.
It is.
He knew back then, what's my math? Is that 24 years ago, something like that?
100
years ago.
114 years ago.
He knew back then what he was getting himself into. And that's why, if I may go on here a little bit, I disagree with Bruce Dolbig in Globe Sports yesterday, who really went after Ron McLean for not being a point guy, for going after Cherry, because that's not Ron's job. It's never been Ron's job. It's been to bait the guy.
Yeah.
It's been to give him a platform and sit back there and let him go.
Serve him up, let him knock him out of the park.
Where Ron's never been a guy to say, "No, you're wrong."
The interesting thing about that is that Ron McLean, you know, is already, by virtue of the wonderful work that he has done over the years at the Olympics, you know, he's a well-respected broadcaster. He's one of the best in the country. And he could do it standing alone. He could be that guy, like Brian Williams, really. But this thing that he's done with Cherry has taken on a whole new life. And if you ever see Ron McLean speak, he's a brilliant speaker at dinners, you know, any charity events. But it's all about it's all about Don, sorry. You know, and I've always wondered, you know, I mean, if he had just never met Don Cherry, never got this role, what would Canadians think of him? I think they'd think the same way. He's a great broadcaster.
Sure he is, and I don't think he had changed a minute of it either.
No, I agree.
If you go back to the start, he wouldn't change this. This is a hook. This is what makes Hockey Night in Canada very interesting. Say what you want about Don Cherry. Everyone's going on and on about him. Should he be out of here? He's too old. He's lost his mind. This is... Grant, how many times, and this is a small comparison, just so folks know, how many times have we set each other up playing devil's advocate? You do it. It's called show business.
To get a reaction.
To get a reaction, to get some people watching. And that's what those two are doing.
Right. So to me, this was timed perfectly for Don Cherry at 77 years of age. Is that what he is? Something like that.
That's 72.
And at the beginning of the season, I thought it was smart. Do I agree with what he said? No. But do I ever agree with Don Cherry? No. But I don't look at it as credible journalism like I might the hot stove, where I can say,
Thank you.
You might look at that, or you might look at something else.
Ass-kissing little bastard.
Nice.
No, I said you might. You might.
Oh, you
I didn't say I do. I said I might.
Okay.
This I look like as a former executive for Hockey Night in Canada says, You don't look at it as credible sports journalism. You look at it like the honeymooners. It's just a comedy show.
Entertainment.
Yep.
And there are too many broadcasters in our business who take themselves far too seriously and think that people just want nuts and bolts. They don't. They want nuts and bolts. They want like a bag of bits and bytes. They want nuts, bolts, and a little surprise every time they reach into the bag. That's what broadcasting should be all about.
It's those guys that just give the nuts and bolts that don't have a friggin' personality. They're the ones. No, it's a combination of both, Grant.
It really is.
You got to have both. You can't be just one or you're boring.
No, I disagree. I think a show can have both. But when you watch your NFL shows like you do religiously, do you ever go outside on a Sunday? Or just watch NFL from morning, noon till night?
Don't personally attack him.
I'm sorry.
He's so sensitive.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You speak as if there's something wrong with that.
Most people watching don't leave the house on Sundays. You're offending our audience. It's another thing broadcasters should never do. Don't offend your audience unless they're former fighters, and then you can just go right after them and you get huge ratings.
Okay.
Well, so what am I supposed to
NFL
do go on Sunday instead of watching NFL? Go
I
to
shouldn't have
some
said
church
that.
and
I
be a
shouldn't have said
hypocrite?
that.
No, I'm not going to. I live my life with my own beliefs. I stay there. The church of Sunday football is where I am preaching, and
that's why you're wearing your church outfit.
Brother.
That's right.
You just came right
Well,
from
no,
church.
because your wife bought it for me. She says it's been a while since I bought a real man anything, and here I am.
All right,
There's a
fair
time
enough.
and place for different things in sport. That's what I was trying to get
Sure.
to. When you watch your NFL shows, there are times when they've got two reporters or beat guys who know some insights. You've got an announcer who's asking them they're not supposed to give you a shtick. That's what I meant. There's a time and place for that. They shouldn't be entertaining. They just want to tell you that Brett Favre might be coming back because, or the Detroit Lions will make a big trade. This is what you know what I mean? But that's not where Don Cherry should be. That's where the hot stove guys in Hockey Night in Canada should be.
But how many times do you see these guys on? How many times do you see
You need the pizzazz.
guys
See,
that aren't?
This is boring. This is what broadcasting should be all about. You need
Oh,
the explosion.
The point is,
I like
how
being
many
with the
times
guys.
do you see these newspaper guys, radio
still
guys?
talking?
I am. And they're trying to be that entertaining guy, and they can't. That's all I'm saying. Some people can pull it off.
I have no idea what he's
That's a wrap.
Shut up. You guys are assholes.
Hi, I'm Henry Burris. I love Calgary, and I'm proud to call this place home. While Calgary has an interesting history, there aren't a lot of buildings that remain since the early days. And some of those that are left are in pretty bad shape.
Now we can revitalize this area with the use of robotic parking. It's efficient, it's accessible, and it's safe. The best part is that it's easy to use. For more information and a chance to invest with us, visit 7th Avenue Autopark.com.